On the show today, we are sharing ways to still make money even when you're facing rejection.
Welcome to JFDI with the two Lauras. This is the podcast for freelance social media managers where we share our decades of experience and give you tips, advice, and hopefully some inspiration to help you in your business as a freelance social media manager. We release a new episode every Tuesday, and right after the show, we hang out in our community, the Social Media Managers Hub, to answer your questions and dive deeper into the things that we've discussed here. On the show today, we're sharing ways to generate cash in your business when a client rejects you, like that horrible ex-boyfriend once did.
Oh, that was triggering.
Yeah, what a wanker.
And dramatic. And now I'm having flashbacks to my past. Thanks for that.
Sorry. Do you want to talk about it?
No, thanks. I'd rather just forget about it.
Okay, what do we mean by this?
What, by our ex rejecting us? I thought we weren't going into some sort of, psychotherapy.
How does it feel?
Terrible. I'm not over it. No, I am totally over it. Just in case he's listening, I'm totally over it. You crack on, you do you. I am fine.
What are the chances of any of our exes listening to this podcast?
Oh, God, could you imagine if they did? Awkward.
Well, only awkward for this one. Okay, so back to business, Laura. So what do we mean by this? We mean when a client basically says no to you. So there are a couple of ways, kind of situations this can arise. So it could be you've put a proposal in and they've said no. Now this, trying to kind of monetize a no isn't going to work for every single no. So in this situation, if you've put a proposal and they've come back and said no because they can't afford you, and maybe they've not gone to loads of different people, they've chosen you specifically, but then you've put the quote in and they've gone, I can't afford you. Or maybe they say, look, we've decided it's not the right time and for whatever reasons. So they're the kind of people we're thinking. They're the kind of rejections that we think that we can turn around to a positive. Obviously, if you put in a proposal and they say, no, we've gone to work with somebody else, then you could try, but I suspect it would be harder to monetize that rejection. I'm sorry.
I love that you caveated that with a sorry, like in a real empathetic way.
And then the second scenario, I guess, is when you've been working for a client and that relationship has come to an end. And that could be because if you've decided to kind of move on. And if you're anything like me, that was a lot. Like I just used to be a bit of a client hussy, really. I just used to. So
hang on, is it your ex that's actually facing the trauma, well, not you?
He will be traumatized by let me go. Yeah, so you could choose to move on, or it could be they've decided maybe they can't continue, maybe financial reasons, maybe they're taking somebody in-house. And as frustrating as we all find that, especially if it's going in-house to the admin that's works one day a week and is 12 years old or whatever, you instead of getting frustrated and annoyed by it, like trying to listen to what we're going to talk about today and turn that into a positive. And then on that scenario where that relationship has come to an end, this is not going to work if they're basically crap clients, red flags, dicks is actually what I wrote in my notes. You just want to sometimes close the door and move on. So that's just to give you an idea of the kinds of times you can try to make a bit of cash out of rejection. But just so you're clear, it's not going to work all the time. And you'll know that. You'll have a sense as to whether you think you can pursue it to get more money.
Totally.
Okay, so how are we going to actually get more money from these exes?
In a nutshell, offer them something else. Offer them what it is that they do need right now. So like if they've said to you, you've put in a proposal and it's a no because they can't afford it, or it's a no because it's not the right time, what can they afford, or what is it the right time for? What's the alternative that you can offer them that will be a solution for them, for where they're at right now, or where their budget is at right now, and will also benefit you? There will be something.
Yeah.
There always is something.
And don't automatically, and we can come on to different examples in a second, but don't automatically assume it's a cheaper option. Now, obviously, someone could say, look, I can't work with you as my social media manager paying you £1,000 a month forevermore. Financially, I can't commit to that. But so in your head, don't go thinking, okay, well, I need to kind of downsell them something. Because what they're saying is they can't afford to commit over a long period of time, but they may be happy to invest in a £3,000 project now. So don't always think it's, especially when the rejection has been money.
They're not saying no to £1,000. If you think about it over a year, they're saying no to 12 grand. Or over 2 years, they're saying no to 24 grand. It's not £1,000 they're saying no to there.
Exactly. So sometimes businesses might think, okay, well, I'll invest more now, but especially if you can tell them that they'll benefit over a longer period of time. So yeah, that was just really to have in your mind. Don't automatically, if the rejection has been around money, don't automatically assume that they're going to want to pay less for something. It might just be the commitment that they had a problem with, like a lot of ex-boyfriends or girlfriends.
Totally. Yeah, commitment always being a big problem.
Yes, always. I think now would be a good time to kind of talk about the offer triangle.
Okay. If you were watching a video version of this, you would see Laura pointing at me because she always gets me to talk about this.
Yeah.
So if you're new to the podcast and you haven't heard us speaking about the offer triangle before, this is a framework that we have built our businesses on. It's a framework that we help people like you, freelancers, to build their businesses on to reduce risk in your business, but also for situations like this. So you have other ways that you can monetize your business and make money from, in this example, clients who say no to you. So the offer triangle framework is, if you think about a triangle, it's got 3 points. So your business needs to have 3 points. The top point would be your long-term, like management kind of clients. So it's those businesses that pay you the same amount of money every month, month after month. It's like the people who would pay you £1,000 and a year later they've paid you 12 grand because they've paid you every single month. So that's your long-term clients. So those are probably the ones who are saying no to you in this situation. But then you've got these other 2 points on your offer triangle, which are your one-to-one offers. So that'd be like you're selling one thing to a client, they're paying you one invoice, it's, the job's done. Maybe you might go back and, sell them that thing again, but there's no commitment. They're just paying that one invoice. And then you've got your group offers, and that's where you're helping a group of people with the same thing at the same price. So for example, like a course or a digital product would be a group offer. And the benefit of having that offer triangle framework and having these 3 different types of offers in your business is that you've always got other things that you can offer to people, but it will reduce the risk. So if you were to, let's say that you had a handful of clients and they all turn around to you at the same month, and we know that this has happened to people in the past, and they've gone, we're taking someone in-house, and you lose all of your clients, you've got these other ways that you can still make money whilst you're trying to replace them as, that long-term client. So the offer triangle is really, really important. It's a really important framework to build your business on. In this kind of scenario, you're probably going to be looking at your one-to-one offers, I reckon, don't you, Laura? So should we talk about those sorts of things?
Yeah. So definitely, I think it's unlikely you could say to them, hey, well, look, I can't help you with this one-to-one. Come and join my membership. Actually, you might be able to. But
there probably could be some scenarios, but yeah.
Come on a masterclass. Like, I don't know. Actually, maybe it's worth a shot. But yeah,
I think maybe I've just talked myself out of that. I think there probably could be both. So let's do both.
I think they're more likely to do one-to-one work.
Yeah, totally. I think there's more money as well in that potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if I think of the times that I've done this, it has all been offering one-to-one. So if it's useful, the ones I can think of, I had an ads client who I'd worked with for quite a long time in various ways. But they were a good paying ads client. Life was, business was booming. So they decided that they wanted to outsource their social media. So I quoted them for it, but they decided in the end to go for an intern. It's when the government was doing that funding scheme. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
I can't think what it was called. So anyway, they decided to go for an intern. So for me, straight away, just hit the microphone in aggression. Straight away, I saw an opportunity because I thought, okay, so an intern, they're coming in, they might not necessarily know a huge amount about social media and they might not know about strategy. So I went back, obviously knowing them very well because they were still my clients. And I said, look, let me write you a strategy. I know your business. I know the brand. Let me write a social media strategy for you so you can give it to that intern so they can implement it. And they were like, brilliant, like, absolutely. They snapped my hand off. I outsourced it to somebody else. And then they were happy. And then it was a few months later, I said, how's it going? Do you want me to do an audit of the account to see how they're performing? And they were like, oh my God, we'd love that. Yeah. And so I then did an audit. So that was one situation where someone said no to me to an intern.
How dare they?
How rude.
Rejection.
I know.
That is rejection at its finest, actually.
Yeah. And then another situation I had a client, social media management client. It was when I was moving into focusing more to ads. So I was getting rid of some of my lower paying social clients. And I was being a little bit ruthless anyway. And I just said, look, I'm going. Bye. Here's my notice. And then she was like, oh, help, don't go. And then she decided to take on an employee, but she was like, can you help me train them up? So I did some training, I guess a bit of consultancy as well, albeit probably it wasn't as formal as that. But so they're just off the top of my head 2 times. And actually, I've done a content plan for somebody once, a 3-month content plan. When I was moving away, I was like, look, here's 3 months really of general ideas that you can use for content going forward whilst you find somebody else.
Yeah, I've had this in the past as well. I remember there was a hotel and I really wanted their business. They were an amazing wedding hotel. And this is when I was mainly doing ads. And I put a proposal in for them. And they came back and said, look, no, we've decided we're going to do it ourselves, but we really need your help. And I ended up they bought a nurture package of power hours from me, which was like 3 power hours, if I remember rightly. And they ended up buying that probably 5 or 6 times. I had so much time with them. So they ended up being quite a good paying client in the end. And then the guy left that company. And only a few months back, actually, he came back to me for another power hour with a different company. So, like, that kind of carried on. So, although I felt gutted that I had lost that piece of work that I'd put the proposal in for, actually it turned out to be better because I got, I still got a decent amount of chunk of money, but I wasn't having to spend all my time on that client, which was quite good.
Yeah. Nice. So they're just a couple of examples and they're all one-to-one.
Yeah, that is very true.
So let's revert back to our original statement in that they probably...
Yeah. I think there probably could be times when you've put a proposal in and you assume that the clients come to you because they want that one-to-one support, and then they suddenly understand what it actually takes to work with someone and actually outsource, and they're like, hang on a minute, I feel like I should probably do this myself. How can I go ahead and do this myself? And you can offer them, I can help you with power hours, I can help you with strategy, blah, blah, blah. But if you've got, for example, a membership or a course, it might be like, that might be the first step they need. It might be, I can do this thing for you, or you could just come and take my course, come and join my membership, and I can help you and support you that way. But what I wouldn't do is think about, okay, I don't have my offer triangle built yet. I'm going to go and create a membership for when this happens, because I think that would be a waste of time. If you've already got memberships, you've already got courses, then obviously have those on the plate ready to, if they fit, to make those offers. But don't go and create something just for this kind of scenario with a dodgy ex-client, because I think you'll struggle to sell it.
Yeah. And also, I think on that note, I don't think you would have to have, so I can imagine people now going, okay, this is a good idea. So I need to sit down, I need to think about the pricing, I need to write myself a sales page, I need to do all this. And then it's like life gets in the way. So it's a year before you do that. And you have rejections, a couple of rejections that you just let go because you're like, oh, well, I'll come to that when I've got these things ready. I will never have had a sales page for any of the things that I've ever downsold to in the face of rejection. Like, I'd have just talked to my clients about them. I was already having those kind of, having conversations. I didn't need to send them to a sales page. I was able to just say, look, well, why don't I help you with this? And often it was a bit kind of bespoke, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, at that point for me, it wasn't something that I was offering a lot of. So don't think you can't offer anything now. Like if you were listening to this podcast today and then get a rejection tomorrow, you could totally offer them something. And yes, you might have to create it as you go. And the first one, you have to probably put a little bit more work into it because you're going to create a few bits and pieces, whatever that may be. Then that's fine. But then you can just spit that out every time you need to, whether it be rejection or whether it be just because you want to sell something. You've already got those things available. So don't let that stop you from doing it. You don't need anything. You don't need a sales page. You don't even need a price, because you'll have a price when they ask you for it. You'll give a price because you'll know what they'll be prepared to pay and what you'll want to charge. And if pricing is something you really struggle with, you may want to have a look at our rates calculator. We'll pop a link to that in the show notes, and that will just help you figure out what you need to charge based on what it is you want to make.
Yeah. On that note that you were just saying about sales pages, and this is slightly digressing. What a shock. If you've listened to the podcast for a while, you know we do this. But I think it's just important to point out, like, I made thousands of pounds from selling power hours before I ever wrote a sales page. You don't need to have those things in place to make money. You know, just go with like the minimum, what do they call it? Minimum viable something? Minimum viable something.
Route. Offer.
Go with that thing that's like the basics.
It's normally me who can't remember the things.
Yeah, I know. It is early. It's not. It's 11:30.
Option. Minimum
viable option. I don't think that is it. If you know the saying that I'm trying to think of, let me know. But just go with the basics. Like the very basic things you need to sell to someone is probably just a conversation and a way to take payment.
Yeah.
You know, and I did that for years.
Yeah.
Absolutely years.
A large majority of my things like power hours, strategies and stuff will have come about because of conversations. Someone will have said to me,
totally,
I need help. And I'll have gone, yeah, this is how I think I can help you best. Here's how you pay. You know, so you should never let these kind of things hold you back, especially because you don't know actually, if you've never done these things, say you've never done a standalone strategy for a client and then you get rejection and you think that's an opportunity. So you can say, look, well, why don't I write you a strategy that your new intern can help with? If you've never offered a standalone strategy before, you might hate it.
Yeah,
so just
very true.
Just do it, see what you think. You'll understand whether you've charged appropriately or not. If you've absolutely loved it and you want to do more of it and you've realised this is your thing, then do the sales page, do the bells and whistles, give yourself a launch plan, go out there, sell it to the world, woohoo. But if you've hated it, then you've not lost anything, have you? You've still made money doing something you've hated.
Totally, yeah, love that. Yeah. Love it, especially if you're doing something you hated with a dodgy ex. I mean, it just wraps up the podcast perfectly.
That sounds way too dodgy.
There we go then.
Okay, so there we go. This is how you can make a bit of money staring in the face of rejection from an ex or someone who didn't give you the time of day because they thought there was better elsewhere. Well, screw them.
Oh dear. I wish you could see the video version of this. It is quite funny. Laura is she looks like she's real got a rage on. I don't know who you're thinking about at this point, but
maybe I need to go and get myself some therapy.
Yeah, maybe we do.
My brain, to be fair, jumped around between various people.
Okay, let's not judge on how many people there may have been. Anyway, we will see you again. Same time, same place next week. If you've got any questions, you know who we are. Come and find us in the Facebook group and we will answer them all. See you later.
Toodle pip.
Toodles.